an investor buys a property, or you as an ordinary citizen, you want to buy a property, or as a foreign investor, because whether you're from Kenya, Azerbaijan, doesn't matter where you're from, you can come to America, you can get a mortgage, put down a down payment, typically for foreign investors is between 30-40% ish, give or take, and buy this property. But now in some situations, the truth of the matter is, if we're being honest, the rental income doesn't always cover all the mortgage and all the expense. Because in America, you have the regular mortgage, everywhere, every other country, but you have what we call property taxes, which can be quite a bit. And then the HOA is usually about $100 plus, or give and take every month. But the property taxes could be anywhere from 800 or from 700 to 1,000 to 2,000, depending on the size of the property. So adding all those costs together, as an investor, you must be able to think that, you know what, this rental income I'm going to be generating this property, can I pay all these expenses? And if possible, even have little bit left for me. So that's what you've got to be thinking about as an investor. Now, what Nikki is talking about is a different kind of renters that can come in, like that you can utilize. And I'm going to be honest, before I met Nikki is my real estate Section 8 guru and mentor. Before I met Nikki, I must say I was very apprehensive as a landlord or as a property manager or property owner to give a property to a Section 8 tenant, because typically to qualify as a Section 8 tenant, you must come from a low-income family, and then the government will pay your full rent or subsidize it. And so like, oh, they're going to tear up the house and so on and so forth. But here's what I found, Nikki, and you and I have worked with the numbers several times. Government actually pays more than private individuals.
Absolutely.
That is magic. That changed the trajectory of my business, I would say, or even the landlords I was talking to. I said, look, you guys, you're looking at somebody who works in JP Morgan, who works in Goldman Sachs, or I don't know, Google. They could lose their jobs tomorrow, and they could struggle to pay your rent.
Exactly.
All right. But when you have a 1-year lease with the government, a Section 8 tenant, the government pays their rent. Right. That is amazing. The government pays the rent. The government is not, they're never late. They're not broke, at least not as long as Section 8 is concerned. They're not broke. They do not break their lease. They do pay. They do pay, and they pay very well. Let's walk them through some of the transactions we've had. We have a transaction, remember, in Tamaron. Tamaron is in Katy, very lovely location. Same property. I had 2 properties that I was managed for different clients. Same property, same exact square footage, same exact layout, same builder, same everything, just different streets. I rented it out to a tenant. It took me like 3 months to get somebody that was going to pay $3,000, because that was the mortgage. And I was determined to make sure that the rental income covered the mortgage. And Nikki, on the other hand, rented the other property. Nikki, do you want to tell them how much you rented that property for?
$3,800. It makes me happy to say that. $3,800. And that's a good point that you make, Mo, because people, regular tenants, they will say, well, I may as well be paying a mortgage. But they say that, but then they're not really ready for a mortgage at that time, right? But it's just the thought of, oh, you really want me to pay what I could pay possibly in a mortgage? Well, but yeah, $3,800.
So the client is getting $800 more. And that $800 more is significant, because that extra $800, if you put it on S&P 500 or whatever for an entire year, you're talking of close to $10,000 just in capital. And if it's a year, if you put it in gold, remember I just told you about gold. Gold went up the last 1 year, 44%. Gold has gone up in the last 1 year. If you put that in gold, you would have gotten $14,000. Wow. How would you like if I just threw you a check of $14,000? Isn't that amazing?
That is.
And because it was just $10,000, you only gain $4,000 depending on your tax bracket. You might not even pay anything, So those are the subtle ways that we need to start thinking about our money. Look at Section 8 tenants. And the truth of the matter is that it doesn't matter whether you're a foreigner or you're a U.S. citizen or where you're coming from, you can have Section 8 tenants as your tenants, okay?